Yeah, we have seen package manager in the Linux. What is the purpose of package manager in the Linux? Package manager is used to install software in the Linux operating system. Then we have seen, after that we have seen how to run Spring Boot application in Linux, how to run Spring Boot app in Linux machine. For that, we need to install Java software. Spring Boot application will be packaged as a jar file, and we need to run that jar file by using Java command. Then after that, we discussed about what is EC2 service. Okay, what is the main purpose of EC2 in the AWS? Yes, EC2 service is used to create virtual machines creation. If you want to run any application in the real time, several machines are required. Okay, instead of purchasing those machines physically, we are going to take virtual machines in the cloud, right? So the virtual machines will be provided by EC2 service. Any machine that you take in the EC2, for that machine, hourly billing will be available. Per hour, bill will be generated. If you run the machine for 5 minutes and if you stop it, they don't charge for 5 minutes. They will charge for 1 hour. So the minimum billing period for the machine in the EC2 is 1 hour. But currently we are using T2 micro instance. T2 micro is free for first year. But in the real time, do you think that people will use the T2 micro that is having only 1 GB RAM? Performance will be very slow. In the real time, people will go with T2 large instances, T2X large instances, M2 large instances will be available. They will provide hundreds of GB RAM and they will be costly. The machines are costly. Per hour, bill will be generated. Now, where we will use this EC2 service in the real-time project. So if you take the real-time project, to run our application, we need one Jenkins server. Okay, so we are going to take one virtual machine. In that virtual machine, Jenkins software will be installed. This is called one EC2 VM. Okay, so Jenkins server will be available. This is Jenkins server will be available for non-prod, for dev environment, for SIT, for UAT. Jenkins will be available. So this is called as non-prod Jenkins. And similarly, we need a Jenkins machine for production environment. Jenkins will be available for production. In one Linux machine, Jenkins server will be installed for non-prod environment. In another Linux machine, Jenkins will be installed for production environment. And similarly, we need to maintain a machine to run our Docker. To run the Docker, one separate virtual machine is required. For this, we are going to take another EC2 VM. And in our project, we are going to use SonarQube. So we are going to run SonarQube in one machine. Okay, SonarQube will be available in one machine. For the SonarQube also, we are going to create one Linux machine. And for our project, Nexus repository will be available, which is used to maintain shared libraries. For a Nexus, we are going to take another EC2 instance. Nexus will be available. For Nexus, we are going to take one EC2 instance, right? So Jenkins will be running in one EC2. Non-prod Jenkins will be available and production Jenkins will be available. Docker will be running in one computer. SonarQube will be running in one computer. Nexus repository will be in one computer. Then Kubernetes master will be available. Kubernetes control plane will be available. To run the Kubernetes control plane, one machine will be available. And Kubernetes worker nodes will be available. Master node will be available. And Kubernetes worker nodes also will be available. These all are EC2 instances only. Worker node 1 and worker node 2. So this master node will be connected to worker node. These all are EC2 instances only. And in the real time, our application logs will be maintained in one server that is called log server. So that is called as log server. This log server is also one EC2 VM. Log server is also EC2 VM. So if you want to run any application in the real time, these many computers are required. And we are going to run our application and we need a database for our application. So to run the database, again, one EC2 instance is required. Non-prod DB will be available and prod DB will be available. This is non-prod, not production database, and this is prod database. Okay, this is production database. So non-prod DB will run in one EC2 VM and production database will run in another EC2 VM. So in general, when you want to run any application in the real time, only one computer is not sufficient, guys. In the company, we are going to use several computers to run our application. Why we need several computers to run our application? Jenkins will be available for the project. To run the Jenkins software, one computer is required. And Jenkins will be available for production environment as well as for non-production environment. Docker will be available to run our application. To run the Docker, one computer will be, separate computer will be available only to run the Docker software. And Sonar Cube will be available. One computer will be there with only Sonar server that is used for the code review. And the database will be available in one machine. Nexus repository will be there in one machine. Kubernetes, if you are using Kubernetes in the project, multiple machines will be required for the Kubernetes. Kubernetes master machines, Kubernetes worker node machines will be available. For storing the logs of the application, one machine is required. For the production database, one machine is required. Like this in the real time, so many computers are required for one project. Company means they will be dealing with several projects. If you take TCS, how many projects will be there in the TCS? Hundreds, thousands of projects will be available. On an average, if you take for one project requires minimum to minimum 100 machines. In the real time, when we are working on one project development, that project requires 100 computers. Now, in the TCS, if you see, assume that there are 1000 projects are available. In the TCS, 1000 projects are available. To manage these 1000 projects, how many machines they need? 1000 multiplied by 100. 1000 multiplied by 100. So total, they need 1 lakh machines. Total, they need 1 lakh machine. So now, if they purchase 1 lakh machines, what is the problem? Space. Where they need to store those machines. How to provide the network for the machines. How to provide the security for the machine. Don't think that per project only one computer is required. For one project in the real time, minimum to minimum 100 machines are required. Some machines will be used for running the database servers. Some machines are used for running our application servers. Some machines are used to run the Sonar Cube, Jenkins, Docker, Nexus, Kubernetes, log server, etc. So many machines are required to develop and execute one project in the real time. But in the training period, in our laptop, we will develop the project, we will run the project, we will test that project. But in the real time, dev environment will be there, SIT environment, UAT, pilot, production. For every environment, different machines will be available. So that's why I'm saying for one project, minimum to minimum, 100 machines are required. So now, do we need to purchase those 100 machines, or we will take 100 machines for the rent? We will take 100 machines for the rent by using EC2 service. That is what companies will pay crores of rupees as a bill amount for the AWS on monthly basis. Now TCS people will use 1 lakh machines to run their projects. So 1 lakh machines they are using per month. How much bill will be generated? Do you think that they will use T2 micro machines? T2 micro only for our practice purpose, not for the real time. So because T2 micro will have only 1 GB RAM, that is not sufficient. So minimum they will use 100 GB RAM, 1000 GB RAM to run our projects. So lot of bill will be generated on monthly basis. So we have seen in the AWS, there is a service called EC2 service is available. Virtual machines we can create by using EC2. Linux machines you can create, Windows machines also you can create by using EC2 service. Okay. Then after, we have seen one service called RDS. Why we need to go for RDS? So RDS is required to maintain database in the cloud platform. For every application, database will be available. Some projects may go with Oracle database. Some projects may go with MySQL. Some projects may go with Postgres database. Some projects may go with MongoDB. Now here, when our application is running in the multiple environments, dev environment will have DevDB. Separate databases should be created for dev environment. When project is in the SIT environment, SIT database will be available. When project is in the UAT environment, UAT database will be available. When project is in the pilot environment, pilot DB will be created. Pilot DB will be created. When project is in the production environment, then prod database will be created. So minimum to minimum 6 to 7 databases we have to create in the AWS cloud. So previously we created one database. For that database, endpoint got generated. By using that endpoint, we are able to communicate with the database. In the real time, for every environment, separate database instance will be available. So dev environment will use dev database. For dev database, nothing but we are going to create multiple instances in the RDS. We are going to create multiple instances in the RDS. That means for every instance, bill will be generated. Even though database is free, MySQL is free, but for the maintenance, AWS is going to charge. They need to provide all the management maintenance services to run our database in the AWS cloud. Okay, go to RDS. Now here DB instances. How many DB instances we can create in the region now? 20 instances we can create. Minimum to minimum for our project. How many instances are required? 5 to 6 instances are required. Dev environment database, SIT environment database, UAT environment, pilot environment, and production environment databases will be available. In our project, how we will maintain all the database properties? By using profiles concept, dev profile, SIT profile, UAT profile, pilot, and production. When our application is deploying into particular environment, that profile we are going to activate. Because if I use single properties file in the project, every time I need to change the database URL. That is very difficult. Sometimes you may not remember to change the database URL. Then your application will connect to the wrong database. So that's why in the project, as we are having multiple databases, multiple configuration files will be available. Those are called profiles in the Spring Boot. When we are deploying our application to one environment, that profile we have to activate. That particular profile we have to activate. All right. So we understood how to create a virtual machine and how to create database also for our project by using RDS. Then after we have seen S3. What is the purpose of S3? Yeah, S3 stands for simple storage service. Any data that you want to store in the cloud platform, you can go for S3 service. Simple storage service that S3 providing unlimited storage for our application. Unlimited storage. You want to store huge amount of data. You have TBs of data, GBs of data, TBs of data is available. So if I want to store my data in the computer, my computer is having 1 TB hard disk. I can store only 1 TB data, but I am having 10 TB data. Then I need 10 computers. Instead of purchasing 10 computers, I can go for cloud platform. If I store 1 TB data in the computer, for example, if this computer got crashed, data loss. Hard disk got corrupted, data loss. So that's why in the real time, whatever the data that we want to maintain for our application, that data will be stored in the S3 service. S3 service supporting unlimited data. Any type of file you can store in the S3. You can store audio files, video files, images, PDF, text files, anything. Everything will be stored in the S3. In the S3, whatever the data you are storing, they are not going to charge for the data storage. They are going to charge for the retrieval of the data. How many times you are retrieving the data, for that they are going to generate the bill amount. Okay, so S3 is used for storing unlimited data. So if you see YouTube lot of videos are uploading. In the Instagram, reels are available. Okay, in the Amazon Prime, movies are available, web series are available. So is there any limit for data in the YouTube? Daily, so many people are uploading the videos in the YouTube. In the background, they are maintaining the data in the cloud. Amazon Prime, so many movies are available. They are storing in the S3 because Amazon Prime, Amazon product only. AWS is also Amazon product only. Amazon Prime movies will be stored in the S3. Okay. What about YouTube videos? No. Google is having its own cloud platform. GCP is there. They will have their own storage to store the YouTube videos. Google Drive. Google is having their own storage. Okay. Microsoft is having their own storage. Amazon is having their own storage. So they are using these storage services for storing unlimited data. In the real time, when our application want to deal with some binary data, any video you want to store in the application, any audio you want to store in the application, any document, any PDF you want to store in the application, we are not going to store that data into database, guys. So database is a relational database. Relational database is used for storing the data in the text format. Columns will have the text, number, name, email ID, date of birth, gender, phone number. This kind of data we need to store in the database. If you want to store any PDF document, any image, any video, any audio, our application is going to use two types of storages. One is S3 storage will be available. Another one, database storage will be available. Now, whatever the data, suppose for example, correspondence module is available. In the correspondence module, so many notices we are generating. Every notice will be stored into S3 bucket. For every object, every notice we are storing in the S3 is called as one object. For every object, one URL will be generated. That URL we are going to store in the database. Actual PDF will not be stored in the database. PDF will be stored in the S3 bucket. PDF will be stored in the S3 bucket. That PDF URL will be available. That URL will be stored in the database. Tomorrow, when I want to retrieve the PDF, how can I retrieve? First, I need to get the URL from the database. With that URL, I can hit the S3 to get the PDF from the S3 bucket. Okay. So you remember, database will be available and S3 will be available. You may ask a question, sir, both are used for storage purpose now. Then why we need to go for both? S3 is also used for storage. Database is also used for storage. Then why we need to go for both S3 and RDS? S3 is used to store the binary data in the form of files. Database is used to store the text data with the relationships. Okay, fine. By using S3, we can create the buckets and we can store the objects in the buckets. Okay, anybody tried creating the object in the S3 by using Spring Boot application? One person tried. Remaining people, 2 people tried. I have shown you my Git repository URL also. In that code is also available how you can communicate with the S3 bucket from your Java application. Okay, fine. S3 buckets. Next one. We discussed about one more service that is called IAM. We discussed about a service called IAM. What is IAM? IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. If you want to perform your daily activities in the AWS cloud, you need to use your IAM account. Once you join in the project, that DevOps team will be there for the project. Those people will create the account for you in the IAM. Those people will create the account for you in the IAM to perform your daily activities, and they will give limited access for your account. In the AWS, two types of accounts available. One is called root account. Second one is called IAM account. Root account is powerful account. We can operate everything in the AWS cloud by using root account, but we don't get the company root account credentials for accessing the cloud platform. They will create IAM account. When you go for IAM account, two types of access will be available. One is console access and the next one is programmatic access. When you go for IAM, two types of accesses will be available. One is called as console access and the second one is called as programmatic access. What is the difference between console access and programmatic access? Come on, guys. If you want to access the cloud from the browser, then we need console access. For that, username and password is required along with the root account number. Root account number is mandatory for that. If you want to log in into AWS cloud as a IAM user, root account ID is mandatory. Okay, fine. Under one root account, we can create several IAM accounts also. There is no limit for that. Fine. Next one. What is the programmatic access? From our Java program or from any program, we can connect with the AWS cloud. For that, access key and secret access keys are required. We have seen how to generate those access keys also in the IAM user account. Fine. Next one. What else we discussed? So now let's understand another service that is called Route 53. There is a service called Route 53 service is available. What is the purpose of this Route 53? Route 53 service is used for mapping our application to domain name. Okay. Now you see in the S3 bucket, I have deployed one static web application. In the S3 bucket, I have deployed one static web application. Now, if you see Ashok IT website, now go to properties. Under properties, if you go to properties, static website hosting URL is available. When I click that URL, my website is opening. But what is the problem for this website now? URL is the problem. For this website, one lengthy URL got generated. Can I share this URL with the people? They cannot, they don't like that. They cannot remember that. My URL is not user friendly. My URL is not readable. My URL cannot be remembered for a long time. So there are so many problems are available. Now here in the real time, what we need to do is we need to map application to domain name. We need to map our application to domain name. Application will have a URL. Application will have a URL. Now you can say, this is my application URL. This is my application URL. I cannot share this URL with the public. For that reason, I'm going to purchase a domain. So for example, I'm going to purchase a domain with a name called www.ies.com. I want to purchase a domain with a name called IES. Okay. So here, this IES domain, I want to map to application URL. This lengthy URL is available. I want to map my application URL to this domain name. So in the browser, when you hit this URL, then that application should be accessed. Okay. So that's where DNS comes into picture. If you want to map domain name to the application URL, DNS is required. Domain naming system. Domain naming system. So first we need to purchase a domain. Then that domain we need to map with the URL, so that whenever you send a request to the domain, then that request will be forwarded to actual application. Are you guys able to understand? In order to do that domain mapping, there is a service called Route 53 service is available. Some people will ask in the DevOps batch, people will ask question, sir, why only Route 53? Why not Route 35? Why not Route 52? So why they have given the number as only 53? The reason is DNS protocol number is 53. Okay, here HTTP protocol number 80, SSH protocol 22, RDP protocol 3389, MySQL protocol 3306, to NFS protocol 2409. Similarly, DNS is having a protocol. The port number for the DNS is 53. That's why they named it as a Route 53. Okay, guys. Now let us go to Route 53 service. But to be frank, guys, in my 10 years of experience, I never got the chance to map application to the domain name. As a developer, we are not going to get that chance. So that will, for that, separate team will be available. DNS team will be available in the company. Those people are going to map our application URLs to the domains. But I learned this concept by watching in the YouTube. Because in my DevOps classes, I need to teach the people how to map the domains to the application. As a developer, you will not do this activity, but you should have idea how it is working in the real time. How our application is accessible whenever I type www.gmail.com, how Gmail application is coming. When I type LinkedIn, how LinkedIn website is coming, linkedin.com, how that website is coming. Okay, so we need to understand domain mapping for that. So to map application to the domain, which is service we are going to use? We are going to use a service called Route 53. So Route 53 service is used to route user requests coming to the domain to the actual application. Now assume that here our application is available. This is our application. This application is having some URL, some lengthy URL is available for the application. Now I don't want to give the lengthy URL. That's why I have purchased one domain. I have purchased one domain. For example, domain name is IES application. Domain name is IES application. End users are going to send a request to the URL called IES application, IES app dot something. End user will send a request to domain. Now this domain should redirect the request to actual application. That's where Route 53 comes into picture. That's where Route 53 comes into picture. Now here the domain name, I can take it as www.iesapp.com. I can purchase a domain like that. But my application is having a lengthy URL. Application having a lengthy URL. That lengthy URL will be mapped to, this is app URL. Okay. Now domain will be purchased. That a domain will be mapped to application URL by using which service? By using a service called Route 53. So whenever you send the request to the domain, then that request will be redirected to the application through this Route 53. So let us see how to do that. Now let me go for Route 53. Let me go for Route 53. Scalable DNS and domain name registration in the AWS cloud. Go to Route 53 service. Route 53 service. Here we need to purchase a domain. There is an option called registered domains option is available. Guys, in the AWS, for all the services, we will go with a concept called pay and use. Sorry, pay as you go. For all the services in the AWS, we will follow a principle called pay as you go. So you first use the service, then you pay for that service. Whereas when you go for Route 53, first you need to pay, then you have to use the service, because we need to register a domain. To register the domain, you need to pay the bill amount. Then only the domain will be registered with your account. then only the domain will be activated. Okay. First, let me go to registered domains. Registered domains. Route 53 service. Currently, do we have any domains registered here? We don't have any domains to display. Go to option called register domains. So what is your domain name? What domain you want? You check for that name. Okay. Suppose I want to go with ashokid.com, search for that. So what they are saying that ashokid.com is not available. Now, if I go for ashokid.net, that domain will be available. Domain is available. ashokid.net domain is available. $11 for that domain. Okay, we can get that domain. So similarly, now I want to go for IES application. I want to go for IES app. Search for that. Now, what is saying now? IESapp.com is available or not available? IES.com is not available. Now, here IESapp.info is available. What is the price for that? $23 is the price for that. What is the another domain we have? IESapp.link. What is the price for that? $5. Okay, let me select the domain which is having less cost, that is $5. In the AWS, the least price for the domain is $5. That is .link extension. Okay, let us select this IESapp.link. Click on select. Proceed to checkout. Click on proceed to checkout. How many years you want that domain? Auto renew off. I don't need to renewal the domain. Do you want 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years? Okay. Minimum you need to purchase license for 1 year. Maximum you can purchase for 10 years. I'm going with the 1 year license, $5. If you select on, after 1 year, automatically domain will go for renewal. I don't want any renewal for that. Click on next. Okay. Contact name, to whom you want to purchase this domain, what is your address, all the details you need to provide. A person. Correct. I'm providing all the details to purchase the domain. Click on next. Okay. So it is capturing the register contact for the domain. Agree the terms and conditions. Click on submit. Okay. The request to register a domain is in progress. You will receive a registration status email for each domain, that is IESapp.link. Check the status. Now, the status is in progress. I have registered one domain by using Route 53. Now, so for this domain status is in progress. I have not done the payment. So if I do the payment for the domain, then that domain will be activated. Let us see billing credentials for that. Go for the billing dashboard. Invoice will be generated for that. Go for payments. Bills. Yeah. Purchase order. Guys, there will be a invoice will be generated for that. We need to pay that invoice. I think I will receive an email for that. Guys, still the status is in progress. They are still registering the domain on our account. Once the domain is registered on our account, then the bill will be generated. It will come to the purchase order. So once the purchase order is generated here, then we need to pay the bill amount for that. Once we pay the bill amount, then the domain will be registered so that we can map our applications to the domain name, right? So what is the domain name we have taken? IESapp.link domain I have taken. So whenever you type this address in the browser, then it should be redirected to our website. Okay. So I think we need to wait for this. This domain should be registered successfully. Once it is registered, we need to go to our profile. There is an option called billing dashboard. In the billing dashboard, we should go to purchase orders. In the purchase orders, the order will be available. We need to pay the amount. Once amount is paid, then the domain will come into active state. Then we can use the domain. So maybe we can see that in the tomorrow session. I think it is still in progress. It will take time. Yeah, now you see status got changed. It is changed to action required. Now see this. What is the action that is required for that? Action required to finish registration of your domain with Route 53. You must sign into AWS Management Console, open the billing and cost management console, and verify your payment for the registration. Okay. So go to billing center, billing dashboard. In the billing dashboard, payments. One payment got generated. Okay, guys. So here today I have purchased a domain June 13. That is in the due. How much amount is generated? 486 rupees. That means $5. Okay. Now we need to pay this bill amount. Click on this. Click on complete payment. I'm selecting that invoice number and I need to pay the bill amount. Use credit card or debit card payment method or add the net banking. So this is the invoice. Use credit card or debit card. Card number, name on the card, billing address. Okay. Or else let me go with net banking. Purchase orders. No. Payments, which is due. Click on complete payment. Let me try the payment, guys. I think Umshi sign up back the manje parum lo undi. Let me get my card details, guys. Yeah, I have to do that. 486 rupees is the bill amount that is generated, guys. So we need to do the payment for that. Yeah, guys, it is asking me to log in here. I am using net banking. Okay, customer ID or login ID or use MPIN. That's fine. I'm approving the payment. Transaction failed. Or else, guys, so let me complete the payment in my laptop. Some card details I have to provide for that. I tried with net banking, but it got failed. Let me try with the credit card. Yeah, guys. So with this, I have done the payment for the invoice now. So that was not due anymore now. Come here. Let us refresh. So it is still getting activated status, action required. So it will take some time to reflect that payment here. Payment it is showing as processing. Yeah, done. Fine, guys. Good. Guys, here the domain is registered. The extension for the domain is .link. It is $5. So around 486 rupees bill amount got generated. I paid that bill amount by using credit card, but still the domain is not activated in my account. So still the domain is under request. They are saying that action required. It will take some time to get the domain into active state. Once that domain got into the active state, how we are going to map that domain to our application. So here, when you go for Route 53 dashboard, there will be one option called hosted zone option will be available. For every domain, one hosted zone will be created. We should go inside this hosted zone. Once we go inside the hosted zone, with our domain name, hosted zone will be created. Don't delete the hosted zone, because for this hosted zone, it is going to provide some name servers. Name servers will be available. By mistake, if you delete the name servers, your domain is not going to work. You should not delete the hosted zone. You should not delete the name server. We should not do anything here. Just we should go to Route 53 dashboard. In the Route 53 dashboard, hosted zone option will be available. We should go into the hosted zone. Go to the hosted zone. In the hosted zone, domain name will be available. Click on that domain name. Here, there is an option called records. There is an option called records option is available. Now we need to create a record to map our application to the domain name. There is an option called create record option is available. We should click on create record option. When you click on the create record option, route the traffic to IP address or some AWS resources. Now, I want to route the traffic. Whatever the traffic that is coming to my domain name, I want to route the traffic to either a particular IP address. If it is your Spring Boot application, IP address will be available. You can route the traffic to that particular IP address, or you can route the traffic to particular AWS resource also. Now, here, if you don't want any subdomain, leave it blank. Sometimes I want to give subdomain. So now I will give india.irctc, india.iesapp.link. If you want any subdomain for that, you can give like this, india.iesapp.link. That will be the full domain name. If you don't want anything like that, leave the record name as blank. So iesapp.link. What is the record type? A record type will be A. Then go to alias. When you go to the alias, they are asking route traffic to. Choose the endpoint. So you can choose the endpoint, route the traffic to S3 website endpoint. What is that option here available, guys? S3 website endpoint. When I select this option, S3 website endpoint, in which region our website is available? Our website is available in the Mumbai region. Let me select Mumbai. Yeah, Asia Pacific Mumbai region. In the Mumbai region, whatever the S3 bucket is available, that S3 bucket URL we have to select here. Once you select that URL and click on create record, with that, the domain name will be mapped to your application URL. So currently our domain is not activated, so it will take some time for the activation. Before coming to tomorrow's session, that domain will be activated. Tomorrow I will show the mapping. So if you want to try that, you can also purchase one domain with your name. Go with the .link extension. It will cost you only 480 rupees. Okay, guys. So you got the basic idea. What is Route 53 and why we need to go for Route 53? Yes. What is Route 53 and why we need to go for Route 53? Route 53 is a service in the AWS which is used to map our applications to the domain. Now you see here, domain registration is in progress. I have done the payment. After that, they are doing some process to register the domain on our account. So it may take 2 to 3 hours of time. Once the domain got registered successfully, then we can go to hosted zone. In the hosted zone, we can create a record. Then we can route the traffic from the domain to our application URL. So when we hit the domain, it will go to our application. That we can see in the tomorrow's class. Okay, good. IP address. Yeah, API gateway URL. That is not our API gateway. This is different API gateway in the AWS. So if you go to hosted zone, there are multiple options will be available to route the traffic. Okay. When you go for create record, if you want to map it with just plain IP address, you can type the IP. If it is not IP, then you can go with alias to API gateway API. In the AWS, we can create one API gateway that is different. For every microservice, we don't map to the domain. Microservices are just backend APIs. Okay. Front-end application will be there, right? That URL will be mapped to the domain. Correct. That will be mapped to domain. Now, these are all not required.
Hello, sir.
Not local host. It will run in one Linux machine, right? That machine IP address we are going to provide.
Hello, sir.
Correct. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Sir, I purchased one domain, sir, and also I deployed my jar on EC2.
Your voice is breaking.
1 second, sir.
Yeah, fine, guys. So,
hello, sir.
yeah, tell me.
Sir, I have one question regarding project, sir. Can we mention Rhode Island name at the time of interview, sir? Or
You can mention.
not?
You can mention, no problem.
Or should I mention, sir, client company name or payroll company?
First mention the client company name. Then, if they ask, then specify the payroll company name. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Fine. Good, guys. So,
Hello, sir.
yeah, tell me.
Sir, I purchased the domain, sir. And also I deployed my jar on mobile extreme. When I placed to the public IP to the domain, it's not redirecting to the domain, sir.
Yeah, it will take time, sir. Tomorrow I will show you the mapping of that. Okay.
Okay.
So tomorrow I will show you the mapping of that. Fine, guys. So I'm hoping that all of you completed all the APIs in the project. Yeah, BI, you can leave it. That we just need to generate that file. That's it. BI. It's already done. Report generation, we don't need to do anything. We already completed that. Only BI is pending. Remaining all modules completed. Prasad. Huh? Up to? AR completed. What about DC? నిదానంగా చేస్తావా నెక్స్ట్ ఇయర్ చేయి పెళ్ళైనా చేద్దులే please complete those things, guys. Now once route 53 part is completed, then we are going to learn Jenkins, Docker and Kubernetes. I think you people attended Docker workshop. Okay, we'll start with the Docker first. Once the Docker, then Kubernetes, then we will go for the Jenkins part. Okay, so please complete your project. And from tomorrow for JRTP people, evening 5 p.m. Angular class will be available. Okay, so Angular 20 days will be there for the front-end development. What is TypeScript and what is Angular? That Imtiaz sir is going to take the Angular classes for you. And I will continue morning the tools, Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and our UI development we are going to do. Okay. Meanwhile, you attend the Angular classes from tomorrow. And from next Monday, afternoon at 2:30 p.m., logical programming classes will be available. As I told you, 100 logical programs we have prepared. From 2:30 p.m. logical programming classes will be available for the UI, Java full stack people. I will roll out the schedule in the WhatsApp group today. Anybody who has not done the project development, please try to complete it. Please try to complete it because I have given you almost 3 weeks of time to develop the small APIs. We have to do those APIs. So tomorrow we'll complete the domain mapping. Then we will start with the Docker. I will explain what is Docker, how to work with the Docker. Fine. Yeah, that I will discuss in the evening class, right? I will take today's class. Today I will take the class. I will cover that. I will cover that. In the JRTP I will cover that. Okay. So for JRTP people, Kafka I will explain. Kafka is there, Jenkins is there, Docker is there, Kubernetes is there. Anything else from tools? JMeter is available. Yeah, so whatever is pending, we'll discuss. JRTP batch is not completing, guys. It will continue. Okay, Spring Boot will be completed. For the Spring Boot people, Kafka is pending from my side. Anyhow, in the JRTP also, I have to explain the Kafka. I will take one weekend class on the Kafka. What is Kafka and how to work with the Kafka. Already you have gone through 4 hours video on the Kafka. If I take the class again, I will explain the same thing. Nothing new. Okay, guys, fine. I will explain in the live class also. Fine. If anybody not done the project, please try to complete it. If anybody want to see the domain mapping practically, please purchase a domain in the AWS account. We'll see you in the tomorrow's class.
Good morning, sir. Am I audible to you, sir?
Unit testing. Unit testing is difficult. I already told that.
Good morning, sir. I am audible to you.
Yeah, so many scenarios we have to cover. Yes. No.
Good morning, sir.
Unit testing code you can't get from outside because it depends on your logic. Okay. Yeah. Online students, tell me.
Yes. Good morning, sir. I am audible
Yes, sir.
to you.
Tell me.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is related to microservices. Can I ask now?
Sir, evening we have class in that, sir. We can take a doubt session today in the evening class. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Fine, guys. Thank you, guys. Tomorrow from 5 p.m. Angular class will be available for you people. Everybody should come for the class. If you don't attend the Angular, you cannot develop the front end for the project. Okay. From Monday 2:30, logical programming will be available. Spring Boot course will be completed by today or tomorrow maximum. Okay. Only 1 or 2 topics are pending in the Spring Boot. I will complete that by today or tomorrow. Fine. Thank you, guys.